What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is ELT coming at you with yet another Spider-Man PS5, aka Marvel's Spider-Man 2 related video. In today's video, we are discussing what to expect in the game and what I am dreaming about in this game, mainly what I want to come out of Spider-Man PS5. This is going to be a top 5 style video, so if you like this video, please be sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you haven't done so already. So we got 5 expectations and 5 dreams. We're starting off with expectations at number 5, and this one's pretty obvious: better graphics. Now, I am 99% sure that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is going to be a PS5 exclusive. Emphasis on PS5 exclusive. I do not believe that this will be cross-play or cross-buy, meaning there will not be a PS4 release of this game. Now, there is still that 1% chance where maybe Insomniac Games and Sony's like, you know what, let's give the PS4 owners a chance to play this game on their PS4. I highly doubt that. I think they're going to go straight into next gen, and this is going to be a PS5 only game. Regardless whether or not you could play it also on PS4, I do expect this game to have better graphics, especially on the PS5 version of this game. The character models already in Spider-Man PS4 look incredible. I expect them to look even more detailed, even more photorealistic in the PlayStation 5 version of the game. The city, again, in Spider-Man PS4 looks absolutely incredible. In the sequel, I expect it to be even more better. The textures to be even more sharper, even more crisp. I expect even more photorealistic looking graphics. You look at some of these screenshots that you see now in Spider-Man PS4 and the city looks photorealistic, almost as if somebody went to New York City themselves and took a picture on their cell phone. It looks absolutely incredible, and I expect it to look even more photorealistic in Spider-Man PS5. I expect screenshots that look so lifelike that you won't be able to tell if it's a video game or not. Moving on to dreams, things I want in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. At number 5, this is a day-night cycle. There was not a day-night cycle in Spider-Man PS4. Obviously, that was a little bit disappointing for me. I was hoping for a day-night cycle. They did give us the option at the end of the game where we could go to Harry's research stations and change the day to whatever time we want. However, I'm hoping for a more realistic day-night cycle, kind of like how it was in Spider-Man 2 way back on the PS2. Now, some may argue the reason why the game didn't have a day-night cycle is because they want some missions to be at a particular time of the day. I completely understand that. However, you look at Grand Theft Auto 5, I think they did it perfectly. Any time of the day, you could go to any mission in Grand Theft Auto 5, and if that mission is supposed to take place at nighttime, the camera pans up to the sky, you see a little fast forward going on, and boom, you're right into the mission at nighttime. If you go to a mission at nighttime that's supposed to take place during the day, once again, the camera pans up, you see a little fast forward happening, and boom, you're in there during the daytime. I would like to see the same thing happen in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Where you're swinging around the city, it could be daytime, you play for a few hours, next thing you know, boom, it's nighttime. If you have to go to this one mission, and this one mission is supposed to take place during the day, you swing over there to that mission, camera pans up or whatnot, you get a quick little loading time of the day transitioning from day to night, and boom, you're starting in the mission. A day-night cycle is really cool. Like I said, we had a day-night cycle once before in Marvel Spider-Man, actually not Marvel Spider-Man 2, just plain old Spider-Man 2 back on PlayStation 2. Again, we're talking about a game that came out well over a decade ago and that had a day-night cycle. I'm hoping for a day-night cycle in Marvel Spider-Man 2, similar to Grand Theft Auto 5's day-night cycle. However, I would also like the option for us to turn off the day-night cycle in the menu if we wanted to turn it off. We don't want a day-night cycle, and we'd rather have it where we could select our own time of the day like we have it now in Spider-Man PS4 for those of us out there who may want to be more into a photo mode or video editing. If we don't want a day-night cycle and we just want to take our photos or videos throughout a specific time of the day instead of having to wait for the day-night cycle to turn, it would be nice to have an optional feature to go into the menu and turn off the day-night cycle. But I do want to see a day-night cycle in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Going back to expectations, at number 4, this one is also pretty obvious, and that is a bigger map. The map size in Spider-Man PS4 is big enough as it is. You get to explore all of New York City. You get to see uptown, downtown, midtown, all around. How could they add on that? Well, New York, there's 5 boroughs of New York. I'd like to see maybe one borough opened up in Spider-Man PS5, whether that be Brooklyn, maybe we could go to Queens, we could go to the Bronx. If anything, I'm going to guess maybe Queens or Brooklyn, where Peter or Miles live. It would be cool to go there, swing around a little bit, then swing across the bridge and go back to New York City. Or what they can do to add to a bigger map is what we saw in Spider-Man 3, the movie game, and that is add a sewer or subway system underneath where you can go underground, explore all the way down there, go through all the tunnels, all the trains, the whole entire sewer system. Maybe we'll see Dr. Connors down there, who knows. But I do expect a much bigger map in Spider-Man PS5. Swinging on over back to the dreams and things I want to see in Spider-Man PS5 at number 4 for that. And this one is, some may like it, some may not. I would think it would be cool to see, and that is a superhero cameo. Now, again, I don't want a cameo from another Avenger or, an X-Men or whatever. I don't want them to be the main focus. What I'm thinking about is think more in the lines of Spider-Man 2000. In that game, you had a cameo from Captain America, you had a cameo from Johnny Storm, you had a cameo from the Punisher, you had a cameo from Daredevil. All those characters were in that game, and guess what? They had pretty much no impact on the story at all. They just showed up, exchanged a few words with Spider-Man, and moved on. That's exactly what I would like to see in Spider-Man 2, or Spider-Man PS5, whatever you want to call it. I would like to see maybe a cameo from maybe one of the Avengers from the Avengers game shows up. Maybe you get to talk to Iron Man or Thor or Captain America for a few minutes, talk to him about what's going on, and that's it. That's the last you see of them. Maybe you get Matt Murdock. You could go to Hell's Kitchen. You see Daredevil there. Again, you exchange a few words with him. Hey, what's up? What's going on? What are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this. Okay, well, I'm swinging on over and fighting Green Goblin right now. That's it. A small cameo would be cool to help expand the world of Marvel's Spider-Man. Get more hero cameos, and it makes the whole entire world just feel bigger, and you see the bigger Marvel universe, kind of like how you do in the movies, but you get to bring that into the video games. Number 3 on the list of things to expect is more villains, rather new villains. In Marvel Spider-Man or Spider-Man PS4, we had villains like Mr. Negative, Tombstone, and Screwball, which aren't really mainstream Spider-Man villains. Not too many people know about those characters like hardcore Spider-Man fans do, or fans of the newer comics, especially when it comes to Screwball. Not that many people knew about Screwball. If I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I barely knew anything about Screwball until Spider-Man PS4. However, I would think we will see more of that, or maybe a couple of more of that, in the sequel. I'm thinking maybe somewhere along the lines of a Chameleon, maybe Alistair Smythe and the Spider Slayers make another appearance in the video game. Maybe we have Hydro Man, or Beetle, or hell, maybe even the Spot. Just some other villains that we don't really know too much about. Villains that, like I said, only hardcore Spider-Man fans would know about, make an appearance in Spider-Man PS5, kind of like how Tombstone, Screwball, etc. made an appearance in Spider-Man PS4. Some obscured villains, not too well known amongst the mainstream audience, just to give them a little bit of an adventure with a character that they just don't know about just yet. As for more well-known villains, if the ending of Spider-Man PS4 set up anything, we know to expect maybe Green Goblin down the line, definitely Venom at some point, whether that Venom be Eddie Brock Venom, maybe it could be Harry Osborn as Venom. I do expect Venom in the sequel, the black suit, definitely 100% give me that any day of the week. And who knows, maybe we'll see Kraven the Hunter, Mysterio, or Sandman if Spider-Man ever lets him out of his backpack. As for number 3 on things that I am just dreaming about being in Spider-Man PS5, that number 3 slot goes to more traversal and a new addition to the traversal, that being web wings. If you look at the ending swing in Spider-Man Far From Home, probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, the web wings look absolutely incredible. I would love to do some of those moves in the video game, swinging around, jump off a building. press a button, boom, the web wings pop out, and then all of a sudden you're gliding around the city for a brief amount of time, kind of like how Batman does in the Arkham games. Now, granted, I don't want to be gliding around that much in Spider-Man games. Spider-Man swings. He's a swinger. He swings all around town. I want to be swinging in the Spider-Man game, but give me the option to just glide for just a brief amount of time. That could come in handy. That would be really cool. Who knows, maybe there could be a mission where it's taking place on a cruise ship. I'm talking about like a Spider-Man Homecoming, you know. You have the Staten Island ferry or something over there, and you have to launch yourself off of the World Trade Center and glide all the way over to that boat. That could be a really cool, fun mission, you know. Maybe other missions, we have to get to the Statue of Liberty, think Mysterio in Spider-Man 2. Again, you could swing and glide your way over there. Really cool. I want web wings in the sequel. As for new traversal, this is just pretty much basic. I would love to see some more parkour elements into the game. We got a lot of parkour in the first game. I would like to see a few more of those things around, more things to jump around, more things to crawl on top of, which, by the way, speaking of crawling, they need to fix the wall crawling. The wall crawling in Spider-Man PS4, it's not bad, but it's pretty meh. They seriously need to fix the wall crawling in that game. As for the web tunnel, I love the web tunnel, and I want to see more of the web tunnel. In Spider-Man PS4, we could web tunnel through, you know, some couple of the water towers. We could web tunnel through, you know, a couple of missions in the game. Give us the option to web tunnel. I would like to see some more of that, you know, more cranes in the city to web tunnel around. Maybe we could web tunnel through a truck, kind of like how we saw in Spider-Man 2 the movie. You know, be able to swing down and web tunnel underneath cars and through billboards and, you know, pretty much go crazy with the web tunnel. So that's what I would like to see, what I am dreaming of in Spider-Man PS5, and that is more parkour elements and web wings. Moving on to numero dos on the expectations list, and that is Miles Morales Spider-Man gameplay. This is obvious. We saw at the end of Marvel's Spider-Man that Miles was bitten by a spider. He has the spider powers, and we saw at the end of the City That Never Sleeps DLC that Peter is actually training him to become Spider-Man, and I expect, once again, I'm going back to Grand Theft Auto 5. I love Grand Theft Auto 5. I expect to see something similar to that in the sequel, where we could swing around as Peter Parker, do Peter Parker missions, and then on the fly we hit a button and we switch over, the camera pans out and it pans to Miles and some other different part of New York. Maybe he's in another borough, maybe he's in Brooklyn, maybe he's in Midtown Manhattan, maybe he's in Queens. But we get to go as play as Miles and play with him as Spider-Man, do different missions as him with his different abilities. You know, we have the ability to turn invisible and do stealth in a way that Peter Parker cannot. So that is definitely something that I am expecting in the sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man, and that is Miles Morales Spider-Man gameplay, new abilities for him to use, a different move set, different finishing moves. And just to throw this in there as well, if they do want to bring MJ back for gameplay, please fix her gameplay. I do not want it to be 100% based on stealth, especially flashbacks. Don't make any of her missions a flashback of to what happened 10 minutes ago. Make her missions there and now, and maybe give her some combat. You know, maybe have in the opening of the game we see that she's been taking some karate, taekwondo lessons or something. That way she could maybe get into a fight. Now, I'm not saying turn her into Spider-Man where she's doing all these crazy flips and everything, but maybe some just basic combat where she could just take out some minor thugs. You know, not those big brutes, but, you know, just minor, skinny little drug dealers or something she could beat up or something. Just fix her gameplay. Just don't make it entirely based on stealth, please, Insomniac Games. If you want to bring MJ back for gameplay, you gotta fix that. Number 2 on the dreams list, and this is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of us content creators are dreaming about. I know I've been dreaming about something like this. A lot of people that post, you know, you look at Twitter, you look at some of the photo shots that people take of this game, looks absolutely incredible. Some of the animated GIFs or GIFs or whatever you want to call it that people make of this game look absolutely incredible. And I would love, once again, I am going back to Grand Theft Auto 5, you know, one of the greatest video games ever created in my opinion. I want Insomniac Games to give us a creator suite similar to the Rockstar editor. Now, what I mean by creator suite is, number one, give us more options in photo mode. Photo mode is already incredible in the game. I expect to see, more filters in the sequel. Give us more of a free camera. Make us be able to change Spider-Man up some more. Maybe you could change his poses in the photo mode if we want. Him to give us a thumbs up instead of a whipping hand or whatever. Change his eyes even more in photo mode. Just more improvements on photo mode. That's basic, number one. Number two, as a part of the creator suite, again, going back to the Rockstar editor, anybody that's played GTA 5 and is, just got your feet wet with the Rockstar editor should know at least what I'm talking about. And that is the ability in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 to be able to record any of our gameplay at any time. You hit a button on the controller and boom, we're recording gameplay, and we could go swing around the city, beat up some thugs, do whatever we want. You press the button, end the recording, and then you go into the editor version of, let's just call it the, let's call it the movie creator or whatnot mode in the game. That video that you recorded in the game, you now have the ability to change the camera angle. You could go in there, you can make it look like your own movie is basically what I'm saying. You create your own Marvel Spider-Man movie, create a video of you swinging around. Maybe you want to make your own version of the final swing like it was in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies or the ending of Far From Home. You want to do that yourself. So you go ahead, you record yourself swinging around the city, going through all these things. You're jumping off cars and buildings and billboards, and you're web tunneling through cranes and whatever not. That's all being recorded. You could change the camera angle yourself and make it look absolutely incredible. Something out of cinema. Martin Scorsese would even be in awe with what you created. That is something that I am dying to see in the sequel. I really, really, really hope, if anything on this list, this top 5 list of things that I want, if there's any one thing that I could pick, that would probably be the thing that I would pick, that I would love to see in the sequel. A creator suite, a movie maker, and improvements to photo mode. Insomniac Games, if you could deliver this, it's the greatest Spider-Man game of all time. And now coming in at number 1, the big uno on expectations, and that is a bigger and longer story. The story in Spider-Man PS4 is great. It's a little bit more grounded. It doesn't have that really big action until nearing the end of the game. I expect the story in Marvel Spider-Man 2 to be much bigger. More villains, more twists, more turns, more super villains that you could shake a web out, and of course, non-stop web-swinging, wall-crawling action. R.I.P. Stan Lee, by the way. A bigger story. I expect multiple villains. They set up Green Goblin and Venom at the end. Those are 2 huge villains. I really, really hope Insomniac doesn't mess those villains up. I love both of those villains. Those are probably my top 2 Spider-Man villains of all time. I don't expect them to mess it up, because for what we got in the first game with Doc Ock and Mr. Negative, I think they did really good. If anything, I think they kind of messed up Hammerhead in the DLC. I'm pretty sure there are a couple of people there that agree with me that Hammerhead is kind of meh in the DLC. I prefer him to be more of a, old school mobster, and they kind of turned him into a robot. So that was a little disappointing for the DLC. I expect much better, though, for the sequel. I want to see Green Goblin. I want to see the costume. I want to see him swinging around, acting a little crazy. Well, not swinging, gliding around, I should say, acting a little crazy. I want to see Venom, whether that be Eddie Brock Venom, or Norman Osborn Venom, or Harry Osborn Venom, or whoever they want to be Venom. I want to see Venom. I want him to be big. I want him to be a goofball. Not too goofy. I'm not talking about, Tom Hardy goofy. I'm talking just, just a little bit goofy, because Venom is a little bit of a goofball at times. But that's exactly what I'm expecting. More villains, a bigger story, a longer story. You look at Marvel Spider-Man PS4, the story, you could probably beat the main story without any of the side content in about 10 to 15 hours, I would say. I expect the sequel to give us at least 20 to 30 hours of just story alone. Add on the side content, we're looking at maybe a 50 to 60 hour long video game. So those are my top 5 expectations for Marvel's Spider-Man 2. To recap the list: Number 5 was better graphics. Number 4 was a bigger map. Number 3 was more villains. Number 2 was Miles Morales Spider-Man gameplay. And number 1, a bigger story. And now coming in at number 1 on the dreams, things I want in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I have already talked about this before in the past, and I'm not going to repeat myself all over again. It's like a broken record. I'll just give you a brief take on this, and that is online multiplayer mode. Once again, going back to Grand Theft Auto 5, you look at GTA Online, you look at Red Dead Online. I would like something like that in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Again, not taking anything away. I can't stress this enough. Not taking anything away from the single-player campaign. We all love our single-player campaigns. I expect an amazing single-player campaign. After we're done with the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, however many hours it takes to beat the single player campaign, it would be really cool to be able to switch over to the multiplayer mode where, again, it's called the Spider-Verse. You create your own Spider-Verse character, you create their costume, you create their own moves, you give them, their own abilities. This one, maybe your Spider-Man can't crawl up a wall. Maybe they can have unlimited webbing. Maybe they can turn invisible like Miles. Maybe they can't. Maybe they have no abilities at all and they just punch and kick the entire time. Maybe your Spider-Man glides around the city and barely shoots webs. All of that is up to you, the creator. You could create your own Spider-Verse, meaning your own part of New York. And by that, I mean like a filter kind of like a thing, along with your own character. Maybe you want a more noir-style Spider-Man, so your entire city, including your character, is in black and white. Maybe you want to be more of a comic book style Spider-Man, so you look like the vintage suit in Spider-Man PS4, and the whole entire city has that filter where it looks like it's ripped straight out of a comic book. It's completely up to you. I think Insomniac Games has the talent to pull this off. It would be absolutely incredible. It would keep the game alive for years to come. You could go back to it and, they could update the game, give you new story content, give you new villains. You could have like a villain of the month thing where every month it's a specific villain that's attacking your Spider-Verse. You go, you fight them, you wait till next month, new villain, so on and so forth. You just look at Grand Theft Auto Online. That game came out in 2013, and to this day, it is still getting updates for Grand Theft Auto Online. Can you imagine something like that for a online multiplayer mode, a Spider-Verse mode in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, where we could get content updates for years to come, different villains, different stories. We could go and visit our friends' Spider-Verse, their version of New York with our Spider-Man. And think about it, like I said, if your Spider-Man is a part of a noir universe, when you go and visit your friends, your Spider-Man character is still in black and white, while theirs may be in color. That would be incredibly cool. You could live right off the hype of Into the Spider-Verse and its sequel. Absolutely incredible. Again, I already made a video about this. Go check that out if you haven't done so already. I'm not going to sound like a broken record, but give us online multiplayer mode, and you have created the best Spider-Man game of all time for years to come. Insomniac Games will love you forever. So, to recap the top 5 dreams in Marvel's Spider-Man the sequel, number 5 was a day-night cycle, number 4 was superhero cameos, 3 was new traversal and web wings, 2 was a creator suite, and number 1, a online multiplayer mode. Those are 5 things to expect and 5 things I am dreaming about being in the sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man PS4 on PS5. Do you agree with me? Do you like my list? What is your list? Let me know all of that in the comment section down below. And until next time, this is ELT, signing out.